Hey, it's BrickTsar, and we're going to do another BAT video. That's BrickTsar Answer Thingy. That's where I ask questions with low production value included. So I don't put a lot of high-tech graphics in these videos. I just answer your question. So hopefully the question will be answered correctly. We got a question today from Pedro Mas. Now, he asks, BAT, have you ever had any bad Bricklink experiences? Very good question, and something I haven't talked a lot about, although you have seen hundreds of Bricklink packages on this channel if you've watched all my hauls. Um, and most of the time, and virtually all of my hauls that I've done since I started this channel, I opened it in front of you. So the first time I saw the package was the first time that it was really seen by me. So the worst one I've had in all of that is the one where the seller was missing over half of the items. And they were, number one, slow to respond, but they said that up front, that it was going to take them a while, but it took them twice as long as what they said, even though it was a while. And then they sent the order with no explanation of why they were missing half of the items. And then they were slow to respond. And, I'm pretty patient. It's like, as long as you say, hey, I messed up, I'll get it to you. It's going to take me a little longer. Just let me know. Don't just say, okay, I'm going to do it, and then don't do anything. It was very annoying. And actually, I went to the store. This is what was so bad to me. And it wasn't a few dollars. And the seller made good on it. He refunded me. And so everything's cool as far as that goes. It was just a big hassle, over 2 month long hassle. And I went to a store to get the instructions for this set. Excuse me. I still don't have the instructions for this set. It's a Mickey Mouse set. So I may review that set even though I don't have the instructions. I like having the printed instructions if they ever came with the set. So that was bad, but it wasn't bad in the sense that the seller made good on his on his on his transaction. So I can't, you know, I can complain, and somebody else might have left him negative feedback. I didn't do that. I very rarely leave negative feedback on a seller. He would have to just totally ignore me if he did something wrong. So so that's one on the buying end of it. People are going to make mistakes. Um, and I had one package that was not a mistake by the seller, but 3 months went by. And it was coming from the UK. I still didn't have the item. It was some Lego pins that were made like in the 50s. And so 3 months, I said, hey, man, I haven't got them. Do you have tracking? And I didn't ask. That's all I said. I said, hey, they haven't come yet. I know it can take a long time overseas. Do you have tracking? He said no, and he refunded me. He sent me a complete refund. Another month goes by. The package comes, and he didn't resend it. He sent it the first time, and I know that because the postmark on it was exactly when he said he sent it the first time. It was held up in U.S. Customs all this time. It had been opened and searched, and then they just took their own sweet time in sending it to me. All the items were there, so I emailed the guy. I said, look, the stuff came. I'm going to send you the money back. And he said, okay. So I felt that was the right thing to do because he did the right thing, and I wasn't. I would feel guilty taking those without paying them when he did everything right on his end. It was just held up in U.S. Customs. So that's another thing. Sometimes when your seller takes a long time, if they got proof that they sent it, it can get held up in customs. We had that problem sending stuff to Canada for a while. A few years ago, you send something to Canada, they just hold it up for no reason. So that's why you always got to make sure you got good labels. Most of my bad experiences, though, came on eBay, and it was with high dollar stuff. But not so much on Bricklink. I've had, the usual. I'll order a 12-volt motor, and it's a 4-volt motor, That's a common mistake. I'll order classic pink and it'll be the new pink, and it happens all the time. I've learned now that I can almost tell when somebody's listed something incorrectly just by what else they got in their store. Like if you got a 12-volt motor in your store and you have no other vintage parts, then you probably don't have a 12-volt motor. You probably got a 4-volt motor. So I always ask them before I buy. I'll ask before I put it in my cart or check out. I've never had anybody do a chargeback on me on Bricklink. I have on eBay, and I've never had a lost package ever on Bricklink. In fact, in the probably probably 5 to 8,000 packages I have shipped, it's probably closer to 8,000. I've only had one that has ever been lost. And I did have one. I had one on Bricklink. The guy bought a couple of sealed sets. One of them was, I think, was an Indiana Jones set. They were sealed. He got them. I showed him as delivered. A week later, he says, my packages are wet. I said, when did you get them? And he said, like a couple of days before. I said, they've been sitting on your porch for a week. You can't just leave something outside for a week. and I never heard from him again. And sometimes when things like that happen, he didn't pursue it, and it makes me wonder because in my experiences with eBay, not so much with Bricklink, I've had where I think people were just trying to get some refund, even though nothing wrong happened. And usually what I do, if they say something got damaged, I say, well, can you send me a picture of it? Oh, never mind, I'll keep it. That's what they'll usually say. Or if they say so, usually like if I made a mistake on the order, I'm going to know when I go over here to my inventory that I made a mistake. And so usually that's not a problem. I go and send them the items, but it's like when somebody questions like a sealed set and the condition of it, then you got to say send me a picture. But that's why I don't like one of the reasons I don't like to sell sealed sets, because you have to go through all the hassle of protecting them. Have you seen how Lego packages them? They just throw them in a box basically and send it to them. Bricklink sellers, they're like bubble wrap, and you've seen some of the hauls I've got. People just go through great lengths to protect what they're sending, but big companies don't do that. So that's just some of the things that can happen, and I've never had anything that's detracted me from continuing to sell on Bricklink. I have blacklisted sellers that I don't want to buy from again, but that's very few. I tell you this: in Europe, it apparently is the law that you charge for PayPal fees. In the United States, it's against PayPal regulation, so we can't charge the buyer for PayPal fees. In Europe, a lot of the sellers do, and they have other taxes they have to pay that we don't have to pay. They have customs they have to pay that we don't have to pay, so it kind of balances out there. So it doesn't really bother me, except I will try to go buy from the sellers that don't add that fee. So why pay an extra 5%? And I have had a couple of sellers had some bogus conversion factors, like from dollars to euros. I'm like, that's not right. And so PayPal has pretty much eliminated that, and Bricklink as well. They've gone through great lengths to keep, because I think there were some dirty sellers that were getting a little extra by doing a bogus conversion rate between dollars to euros or whatever. But you won't last. If you're a seller and you have those types of practices, it won't last. I can understand the PayPal transaction fee, and they put it in up front in their listing. Anything that they put in the listing that this is what you're going to be charged, then go for it. I always look to see what their estimated shipping charges are, because it usually costs a lot to ship. So that's just some things about Bricklink. Like I said, I started in 2001. I started selling in 2004. I started eBay in 2000. I sold I did most of my selling on eBay in the beginning of the 21st century, from 2000 2010. I haven't done as much the last 4 years because the fees are ridiculous. In fact, I had some comic book auctions up this week, and they only sold 2 out of 15. So, and they were comic books that were worth a lot more than what I was listing them. So, I hate eBay. I hate eBay. I love Bricklink. It's a good place. Good question. I spent way too much time on it, Pedro, but I like you, man. So that's for you. Thanks. And he's bought from my store before. He built the 3723 minifigure. He's got 2 of them, and it was some of those pieces came from my store. So check it out on Instagram. Anyway, thanks for watching. It's BrickTsar.